Kurane, Associate Professor in Physiology Department in Patil Medical College, Kolhapur. Today's my topic is small intestine motility or movement of the small intestine. What are the general principles that includes in the gastrointestinal motility or movement of the small intestine? Motility, what are the characteristics? First, that include the functional sensitivity. It includes functional sensitivity, and small intestine has got 3 layers of the smooth muscles. And functional types of the gastrointestinal movement, these are showing the diagrams. These are the movement, that is constriction rings are there, and through these rings the bolus is passed forward in the forward direction. Then which are the movements? That is, first one, that is the propulsive movement and the mixing movement. Propulsive movement includes the contraction ring. Propulsive movement includes the contraction ring, and second one, that is the receptive relaxation. What is receptive relaxation? That is, one segment relax and one segment contracts. That is, proximal segment contract and distal segment contract. That is called a receptive relaxation. And second movement, that is the mixing movement. Mixing movement includes peristatic contractions and local constrictive contraction, so that all the food enter into the stomach and intestine, they get mixed thoroughly, and chyme or bolus is formed, smooth bolus is formed, that will forward into the small intestine. So these are the mixing movement, that is propulsive and the mixing movement. Then when this movement takes place, so this movement takes place in the 3 steps, that is during the interdigestive period. Interdigestive period means the food enter into from the mouth into the esophagus, and then it enter into the stomach. That step is called as interdigestive step. And during the digestive period means food enter into the stomach and the intestine. And next one, that is the motility replace step. That is, motility replace means undigested food that enter into the large intestine. That is called as motility reflexes. Then first we will see what happened during the interdigestive period, or food is present into the esophagus, from mouth to esophagus. And this is first, that is the migrating motor complex. What is migrating motor complex? It is present, always present in the empty stomach, or in empty GIT. Motor complex is activated when this GIT is empty, then migrating motor complex is activated. This includes the peristaltic waves. Then these waves begins at the esophagus. These waves begin at the esophagus and remove remaining food, that is interdigestive housekeeper. This food remaining, that is the remaining food, that is called as interdigestive housekeeper. So migrating motor complex, that is called as interdigestive housekeeper. See this diagram, that is here peristaltic waves are present in the esophagus, and it shows in the esophagus, that is, then bolus comes slowly from mouth into the esophagus. From the esophagus, it slowly, because of these peristaltic waves, it enter into the stomach. Lastly, it enter into the stomach. So because of these are called as peristaltic waves. So because of the peristaltic waves, bolus enter into the stomach. Then what is migrating motor complex, or MMC? What is migrating motor complex, or MMC? This regular rate is 5 cm per minute every 60 to 90 minutes. Migrating motor complex rate is 60, regular 5 cm per minute every 60 to 90 minutes. Then it has close correlation between basic electrical rhythm and the migrative motor complex, and associated with increase in gastric secretion, bile and bile flow and the pancreatic secretion, and this is abolished or destroyed immediately with entry of food. Migrating motor complex, this is destroyed or stopped or abolished immediately with the entry of the food. Then during which movement takes place during the digestive period? It includes mixing movement, propulsive movement and the movement of villi. During digestive period, mixing movement, propulsive movement and the movements of the villi. So in the mixing movement, these are responsible for mixing of chyme with digestive juices, or mixing of the bowel with the digestive juices, that is with digestive juices, that is intestine juice from the intestine, bile juice and the pancreatic juice. All that come into the second part of the duodenum, and here mixing of the chyme with the digestive juices takes place, and it includes the, after that it includes segmental contractions and pendular movement. Here diagram shows the segmental contractions, that is one segment contract and next segment there is a constriction ring is there, and next segment relax so that the bowel can easily pass forward. Then segmental contraction, that is what are the features of segmental contraction? Most common regular rhythmic segmental contractions are present. See here diagram, direction of the food movement, that is contracted muscle is there, and this contraction that passes the bolus into the next relaxed part of the muscle. Then like this, these are the segmentation is there and contraction. One part contraction and relaxation is there, and so that the bowel can easily enter into the relaxed muscle. So most common, it is regular rhythmic segmental contractions are present, and small segment contract and adjoining segment relaxes so that the bowel can pass through the next distal part. Then alternate contracted and relaxed segment, so ring-like appearance is there, and that is why it is called as segmental contraction. Then what are the functions of this segmental contraction? How it is helpful? It slow down transit time and increase the contact time with the absorption. So absorption of the ileal, at the site of ileal part there is absorption increases, and it propels the chyme slowly towards the colon. So because of this segmentation, it propels the chyme or bolus slowly towards the colon. Then what is the rate and duration of this segmental contraction? In the rate is 12 times per minute in the duodenum. In the duodenum, rate of segmental contraction is more, and it is 8 times per minute in the ileum. It is slow because in the ileum there is absorption of the food takes place, digested food absorption takes place, that is why it is slow. And it is two types, that is eccentric type, it is lesser than 2 cm in length, and concentric type, that is longer than 2 cm in length. Then how control takes place of the segmental contraction, that is initiation that occur only when slow waves, that is basic electrical rhythm that produces spikes or action potential. How this segmental contraction takes place, that is basic or spikes, basic electrical rhythm or action potential start, and then this segmental contraction initiates. Then frequency is directly related to frequency of slow waves. Increase slow waves increase the segmental contraction and controlled by pacemaker cells. Then strength proportional proportional to the frequency of spike generated by the slow waves. It is directly proportional to the slow waves. Then pendular movement. What are the pendular movement? So small constrictive waves sweep forward, then backward or upward and downward in pendular fashion, all directions. So small constrictive waves are present and they sweep forward, backward, or upward or downward in pendular fashion in all directions, and so that these are called as pendular movement. Then propulsive movement that involve the pushing the chain or pushing the bolus of food toward the aboral end or the distal end, This includes the peristatic contraction and peristaltic rush. Because of the peristatic contraction and peristaltic rush, this bolus can pass forward towards the excretory part, that is the anus. Then, what are the features of peristatic contraction? These are the waves of contraction preceded by wave of relaxation. First contraction wave, then relaxation. Wave of contraction, wave of relaxation. So, these are the wave of contraction followed by wave of the relaxation, and these are highly coordinated and involve contraction of segment behind the bolus and relaxation in front of the bolus. These peristaltic movement highly coordinated, so it involves the contraction of the segment behind the bolus and relaxation in front of the bolus, so that the bolus can enter towards the next segment. And it consists of deep circular ring at the rate of 0.5 to 2 cm per second. It consists of deep circular ring at the rate of 0.5 to 2 cm per second, and chime or bolus move at the rate of 1 cm per minute. So 3 to 4 hours from pylorus to ileocecal wall. It takes the 3 to 4 after the meal. It takes 3 to 4 hours from the pylorus of the stomach to the ileocecal wall. So here diagram shows the peristatic wave, that is at the proximal end there is peristatic ring is there, bolus, the next part relaxation is there, bolus can pass forward, then again there is a constriction ring is there. So easily food or bolus can enter into the stomach because of this peristatic waves. Then what are the law of intestine? This law is called as Starling law. It can be this Starling, this invented 1901. So it is related to the polarity of intestine or polar conduction of intestine or electrical activity of intestine, or it is also called as law of gut or theory of receptive relaxation. So what is this law includes? This law states that is peristatic contraction travel from point of stimulation in the both direction. Peristatic contraction travel from point of stimulation in both direction, but contraction in oral direction disappears. That is backward contraction disappears, and but it persists in the aboral or distal end. Backward contraction it disappears and it persists in the aboral direction or continues to the distal end of the gut. So see here diagram, that is how the bolus enter into the what is the direction of bolus? That is only forward direction of the bolus can enter into the or can pass into the gut. Then peristaltic contractions. What are the functions of this peristaltic contraction? First function, that is it propels the food or bolus. Then digestion and absorption. Because of this food propel or forward passing over the food is there, and that is why there is digestion and absorption takes place. Then how control is there? That is initiation, there is stimulus, that is distension of the stomach, that is, and because of distension of the stomach, a mesenteric reflex is there, and rate is 2 to 2.5 centimeter per second. Then what is flow chart for this? Local stretch is there because of the distension. Then release serotonin is there, release of serotonin. Then activate sensory neurons, stimulate the mesenteric plexus, that is nerve plexus that present in the smooth muscle. Then activity travel in either direction to release. Activity that travel in either direction to release. Then acetylcholine and substance P that causes the circular constriction of the gut. Acetylcholine and substance P causes the circular constriction, and nitric oxide and VIP, that is vasoactive intestinal peptide ATP, that causes the receptive relaxation.
Thank you, sir.
Then what is peristaltic rush? Peristaltic rush, that is it is very powerful peristaltic contraction, and when intestinal mucosa irritated, then this peristaltic rush is present, then partly initiated by extrinsic nervous system and partly by the mesenteric reflex. It is partly initiated by extrinsic nervous system and partly by the mesenteric reflex. Begins in duodenum. This peristaltic rush mainly begins in the duodenum through entire length up to the ileocecal wall. This begins in duodenum through entire length up to the ileocecal wall and mainly start in the duodenum. Yes. And this peristaltic rush relieves the small intestine irritant or extensive distension, example diarrhea. This peristaltic rush that relieves the small intestine irritant or any bacterial flora. Then next, that is the movement of villi. This also help for the movement of the small intestine, that is this villi also. This consists of alternate shortening and elongation of the villi by contraction and relaxation of the muscle. This villi consists of alternate shortening and elongation of villi by contraction and relaxation of the muscle. Then how this villi initiate, that is the local nervous reflexes are there, and villi canine that hormone from small intestine mucosa. Then functions of movement of the villi, it helps in emptying of lymph from the central lacteal into the lymphatic system, and second, that is it increase the surface area, so increase the absorption of the food. See here, villi, single villus is there, and it increase the surface area of absorption, and also it emptying the lymph from the central lacteal into the lymphatic system. Then what are the other motility reflexes? How they help for the movement? So first, that is the gastrointestinal reflex. This distension of stomach by the food, how it initiated by? It initiated distension of stomach by food, then reflex stimulation of the vagus nerve, also relaxation of ileocecal sphincter. This can stimulate the gastrointestinal reflex. Then intestinal reflex. This includes the over distension of one segment and relaxation of stomach muscle of the rest of the intestine. Then applied physiology, that is applied physiology includes the paralytic ileus, intestinal obstruction. First we will see what is paralytic ileus. Paralytic ileus, that it is a adynamic, it is also called as adynamic ileus, and it causes what is paralytic ileus? It causes because of the direct inhibition of the smooth muscle of the small intestine due to the handling of intestine during the surgery or intra-abdominal operation, trauma. And that is why that causes the paralytic ileus. Then reflex inhibition due to the increased discharge of noradrenergic or splanchnic nerve. Then what is actual paralytic ileus? Intestinal motility markedly decrease. In paralytic ileus, intestinal motility markedly decrease, and that leads to retention of the content in the intestine. And because of that, irregular distension of small intestine by pockets of gas and fluids is there. And and there is severe pain in the abdomen is there because of this parallel vomiting may be there. Then second, that is the intestinal obstruction. Intestinal obstruction causes due to the tumors or stricture or fibrotic bands in the abdomen. What are the features of this? How it can be? What are the symptoms of intestinal obstruction? Features, that is intestinal colic is there. Severe pain is there due to the peristaltic rush. Then distension of small intestine due to increased intraluminal pressure. Distension of abdomen is there markedly, and severe pain is there because of the peristaltic rush. Then what are the signs? Local ischemia is there, sweating, hypotension is present, and severe vomiting due to the stimulation of visceral apparent nerve is there. When obstruction in upper part of the small intestine, anti-peristaltic reflux causes the intestinal juice to flow into the stomach, that is backward flow of the stomach. When obstruction in the part of the small intestine, that become more basic, and acidic fluids are there. Thank you.